Hey, hi. I felt an urgency to vlog while we were texting, and now I don't exactly know why. I mean, obviously this Caroline stuff has like been a hot topic for me, and I appreciate your insights and on being there for me. Um, and yeah, for sure, narcissism. Yeah, I think I've mentioned before that I've only really read like pop culture, like internet culture uh, testimonials about narcissism. I haven't, and sometimes like I stumble across a blog post by some psychologist or something on Psychology Today. I hate Psychology Today, but the narcissist, and they're always portrayed as like evil, rage, like charming, but if you turn on them, there's rage. I told you the other day I read one article that was like, there's the friendly narcissist who I guess is like the Carol Ann thing, like goes out of her way to assist you, always there for you, friendly, charming, all that stuff. And then when you reject them, this martyr thing comes out. That pops up. Holding steady, sweeter than Diet Coke. I have to buy one. Buy one sometime. Or you off soda. Still doing soda and Coke Zeros. I almost bought a box of Coke Zero. I was feeling perverse and went for Pepsi. I didn't want about something that's branded from Man. Oh, and then Pepsi has like Pepsi Zero, like in a black design, and I was like, losers. Right? Pepsi's always been behind Coke. Although in Data Lounge, I tell you that this guy was like, my brother worked for Coke or Pepsi in the 80s, and they're the same company. They're just the same. It's one corporation. I don't know. Did I tell you that? My college SUNY purchase was right across the road from PepsiCo. It was their big, major, ultimate headquarters of the world. And they had a statue, a sculpture garden that we were allowed to visit. Sometimes we'd go there, but the overall feeling was of sterility. And our college had Pepsi products. I don't think I was drinking soda back then, though. Narcissism, my father. I had to look up what you said to look up. Traumatic narcissism, because I want to know about that. And I want to know, well, I'll never know. My mother, her mother abandoned her, was an alcoholic, had children out of wedlock and stayed in the neighborhood, which is tight-knit Irish American neighborhood. It was Park Slope, which at the time in the 30s, 40s was totally just Irish. And Irish American. But it was a scandal. I'm sure it was humiliating for my mother, painful. But she still had the backbone to take care of her mother's children because her mother was drunk all the time. So I always honor my mother for that. Oh, yeah, her father was just drunk. So my father must have seemed like magical. I mean, he wasn't that handsome, you know. He's kind of like that weak chin, like I don't know, you know, like you've seen pictures. Like he was more handsome with his beard, but back then he didn't have his beard, so he wasn't like super hot. And my mother was beautiful, but he, you know, he's hilarious. hilarious and smart and charming and funny. Everything. I'm sure he lured her in easily. And so I don't consider my mother narcissistic. I think she was martyrish. She was depressed. Had issues big time, but definitely not personality disorder level. Daddy, yeah, Daddy was. Well, then he was like manic depressive, so up, 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 down, down, down. But he had like periods where he was lucid, and that's where like he was angry. If he wasn't manic, buying everything, throwing parties, life of the party, he was like locked in his room, like crying. But there are definitely stretches of time where he was just functioning. That's funny because I read somewhere about bipolar, how to distinguish it from borderline. Is that borderline is 24/7, and manic depressives, bipolar, have stretches between their episodes. I saw that in Kevin, and looking back, I see it in my father, and I guess I see it in myself. I mean, I'm kind of always depressed, though. I don't know, but I function, sort of. Anyway, so in his functioning days, he was an asshole. Verbally abusing all of us except Carol Ann. That's, I mean, more details than that. Carol Ann, now. What the fuck? What the fuck? He gives her the card, and she's like, so is Allison not speaking to me anymore? Or still not speaking to me? And Paul's like, yeah, I guess, I don't know. And she was like, well, tell her I say hi. And immediately I'm enraged when he tells me this, and I tried to hold it in, and Poppy was around. And even if Poppy hadn't been around, I still would try to contain my rage, because last week I did not. And so, for my first statement, though, I was like, how condescending. And then I realized that he wouldn't really understand what I like tell her I say hi. And then I realized I don't even know what I'm talking about. So that like popped out of my mouth. And then so then I was like, what was her tone? And he was like, sad. And I just wasn't buying it. I mean, I believe that she felt sad. I mean, like, she has shallow emotions, and sad was probably the emotion. But like you said, no insight, no curiosity. And so I said to Paul, I was like, if you and I had some kind of scuffle, like a misunderstanding, kind of fight, uncomfortable thing, and I didn't speak to you for a month, apparently you don't know why. You might think that I am overreacting to the disagreement we had, but you love me and concerned. Maybe you even feel angry, but you want to have it out. And then I was like, you're Paul. Like, if we were like 20 years old and that happened, you would ice me out like harder than I could ice you out. So I said that, and he looked a little offended, and he was like, I would call. I would call. I would want to know, which made me feel good. But yeah. Even fucking Paul would have the concern and the curiosity to find out what's going on, with this person that he loves, and she always proclaims this great undying love for me, but she can't. It's all like this occasional. Oh, she's still not speaking to me. I really fucked up on the birthday thing. Well, she said those words to him. I really fucked up on the birthday thing. So if that's what you really believe, then apologize. And then when you apologize, I could explain, like, look, it's not really about that. But if you think you really fucked up, then you come and apologize to me. And then, like, putting that aside, even if you think that it's about the birthday, which is kind of naive, but that's what you think, because that's kind of the last thing we talked about. And I could imagine Beast in her ear being like, it's just about her birthday. It's just like having a temper tantrum. And then, I don't know, I just lost my train of thought. Like you said, no curiosity. And I feel like a normal friend or sister would be like, what is going on? I mean, through email or text or call, like, please talk to me. Like, is this really about your birthday? Like, what have I done? What are you feeling? What is going on? Like, God damn it, I keep saying this to you and Paul. Like, what? And it's just cementing my feelings. And I told Paul, I was like, if she says certain words, I'm sorry about your birthday. And I would say, yeah, I felt like there was a lie in there somewhere. Maybe I'm wrong, but I sensed it. And it caused me to reflect on our long-standing relationship. And then blah, 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 like whatever I feel comfortable or prepared to say in explanation. But she's not doing it. It's not up to me. I'm not the one hurting her. She hurt me for decades. And she helped me for decades in a suspicious way. And it's confusing now, because I think that, like, buying me clothes or taking me out to dinner, giving us cash when we were low on cash, I think she did feel pleasure, like not sinister pleasure, but she felt good about herself, like, I'm helping. I think there are layers to her, and that's one of the layers. It's probably the top layer because it's the nicest layer. And then those other layers underneath are like a mystery to her, like the low emotional intelligence. She doesn't question her motives. What was I going to say? Sorry, I'm not totally awake. Pardon me. The friendly narcissist. I could go on 1,000 ways that she's been self-absorbed over the years. And I might do so in another vlog, because this one's about to run out. And yeah, I'm gonna do it. Okay, this is 14. Okay, let's stop.